Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Turbush. I'm the Earthquake and Volcano Program Coordinator for Washington State Emergency Management Division. And we're here to talk about the Great Shakeout earthquake drill that we had today. Now, this happens the third Thursday every year, and it's a global drill. Here in Washington, it's an earthquake and tsunami drill. We had over 1.3 million participants, so thank you to everybody in the state who participated. What we asked everybody to do, the very basic level of participation, is to drop, cover, and hold on to practice what you would do to protect yourself if an earthquake suddenly occurred. So in case anybody's not familiar with that, I'm going to have my colleague Megan demonstrate right now. So when we say drop, we mean get low to the ground. Lowering your center of gravity is going to prevent you from being knocked over by ground shaking. Cover, find a sturdy desk to cover under, or a sturdy table, something like that, and cover your head and neck. She's got her hand over it. And hold. You want to hold on to that position until the ground stops shaking. Now you're also holding onto your cover. You can see she's holding onto the table there. That helps prevent it from shaking away from you. You want to keep that cover over your head. So if you don't have anything sturdy to get under, you can just cover your head and neck. You can find something probably sturdier than this book to cover yourself with. But cover your head and neck, that's the important part. So drop, cover, and hold on. And you should be safe in most earthquake situations. There's slightly different tweaks. Has the shaking stopped yet? Can you get out from under there?
Shaking has stopped.
Excellent. So yeah, you don't have to stay there longer than the earthquake stops, but what sorts of things would you do next after the ground starts shaking?
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Megan Meyer and I'm the Disaster Preparedness Outreach Program Manager here at Washington Emergency Management Division. So some of the things I'd want to do next after the ground has stopped shaking, I want to check myself for any injuries. So that's super important. If I'm all set to go, I want to look around me and make sure the people I'm with also are doing okay and they don't have any injuries as well. So after I've checked myself, I've checked the people I'm with. Then if there are any hazards around me, anything that could be falling from shelves afterwards in an aftershock, then I want to make sure I'm out of the way of that too. And then once that's done, you want to grab your go bag and you want to evacuate if needed.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Tapero, Tsunami Program Coordinator with Washington EMD. Now, if there wasn't ground shaking, let's say that you got an alert on your phone that something was coming your way, you might need to evacuate to high ground for a tsunami. So that's another incident where you might grab your go bag. There's one right here under the desk. That's a great place to keep one. So having one at work, in your car, at school, at home, anywhere where you might need one is a great thing to do. So we've been talking today about one extra step we can take after we drop, cover, and hold, or we practice that. So my step is going to be getting together my important documents and making sure I have copies of those and that they're accessible not only for myself in an emergency, but also for my emergency contact. Dante, what's yours?
Yeah, that's really great. So my name is Dante DiSabatino. I'm a Tsunami Program Coordinator here at Washington Emergency Management Division. And I recently moved. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look around and do a little bit of a home hazard hunt. And what we mean by that is I'm going to look at some of the bookshelves and some of the furniture I have to see if it's properly secured. One thing, too, that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be investing in getting some straps for my computer monitor. I have a couple computer monitors, and I'm going to strap those down. So doing a home hazard hunt just to see is everything safely secured to the wall in case shaking from an earthquake would be moving those things around. Yeah.
Alyssa, would you talk about our tsunami test today?
Sure. So the Great Washington Shakeout is the one day of the year where we test all of our tsunami sirens on the coast. There's now 122 of those. The one day of the year that we test all of those with the actual wailing sounds. That's the sound that you would hear in an actual tsunami warning. We test those on Shakeout with that sound so that you know when you hear that, anytime other than Shakeout, that means you need to get to high ground or inland. So we did that test today at about 10:21 a.m. It was very successful. We had most of our sirens go off. Those that didn't were primarily ones that we knew weren't going to go off, either because they were new sirens and haven't been hooked up to electricity yet, or they were ones that we already were aware that were having issues. So we also test the sirens once a month on the first Monday of the month at noon, but on the Mondays tests, they do the Westminster chimes. So it's a much shorter test. It's a little bit quieter, so you might not be able to hear it as well. And then we actually do what we call a quiet test every day. So that doesn't make any sound for the sirens. That's just a ping that we do to make sure that those sirens are online and that we can connect to them.
And if someone doesn't hear the sirens, what should they do?
So if you have a siren near you, but you can't hear it, that could be a couple of reasons. It could be that you are just too far away. So they have an audible range of about 1 mile, but there are a lot of factors that go into that. So if the weather is really bad, if you've got a lot of wind and rain, it could be that you won't be able to hear them as well. Also, if there are any physical barriers between you and the sirens, so trees, hills, buildings, anything like that, that's also going to block that sound. And it's also important to remember that these are an outdoor warning system for folks who are on or very near the beach. So they're not meant to be heard indoors. They're not meant to be heard in your town or city. They're meant for folks that are right at the shore. So if you still can't hear your siren, but you should be able to, and those factors are at play, something you can do is get a NOAA weather radio. So that's one way you can sign up for alerts. And what's great about those is that when you buy a NOAA weather radio receiver, because you have to have a special receiver, unfortunately, but you can get those in a lot of places. What they can do is you can set them so that instead of constantly playing the, weather updates and streaming that 24/7 in your house, it essentially stays silent. And like a smoke detector, it's constantly monitoring. And anytime that you have a hazard or an alert that you need to respond to, not just a small one, but something where you might have to evacuate, your radio is going to make a nice loud sound. And I've tested it before. It's something that'll wake you up in the middle of the night for sure. So that's a great thing to have in your house. If you're deaf or hard of hearing, those radios also come with things you can plug into them that make a strobe light or even vibrate or shake your bed. So those have a lot of great add-ins as well if you have issues.
Donnie, do you want to talk about our alerts?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you go to our alert webpage, mil.wa.gov/alerts, that's mil.wa.gov/alerts, you can learn a lot about the information that Alyssa shared today, and you can look for tsunami alerts, earthquake early warning, volcano notifications, and also those local opt-in alerts as well, and verified emergency management news sources. Now, a really great thing to talk about is this year, earthquake early warning went live as well. And what that means is that you could potentially receive an alert seconds before earthquake shaking is felt at your location. We have specific instructions of how you can make sure those alerts are turned on that mil.wa.gov/alerts page too.
Right on. And Megan, would you talk about preparing a year?
Yes, I would love to. All right, thanks, Dante. That was great information. So everyone, if you are interested, we have this awesome Prepare in a Year guide. So if you participated in the Great Shakeout today and you did drop, cover, and hold on, you've already got one of the activities done. So this guide is free and available on our website at mil.wa.gov/preparedness. And so what you can do here is it's 12 simple steps that you can take to be more prepared in the event of a disaster. So you already may have done drop, cover, and hold on today, but some of the other ones you can do is make copies of important documents, start building your emergency preparedness kit, thinking about home fire safety and what that means. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace the smoke alarms in my home because they're from 1997, yellow and painted over. So it's time for them to go. So again, this is available and free on our website for anybody who's interested at mil.wa.gov/preparedness.
Brian, would you close us off by talking about why drop, cover, hold is important?
Sure. So drop, cover, and hold on is the recommended action in the United States for what to do when an earthquake strikes. You might have heard other people say other things, but in the US, with our building codes, that is the best way to stay safe in an earthquake. So the United States Geological Survey and some university partners from all over the world recently poured through all the injury data from a bunch of earthquakes and found that you are twice as likely to be injured if you are moving during an earthquake as you are if you're staying in one place. It seems counterintuitive, but that's what the data showed. And we really want you to understand what to do so you can protect yourself when the ground starts shaking. So ShakeOut, perfect time to drop, cover, and hold on. I practiced a few times today. Megan just practiced again. But this is what to do. You want to get down to the ground, prevent yourself from being thrown to the ground by an earthquake. If you're going to get to the ground, better do it on your own, of your own volition. Cover your head and neck and hold on to that cover, hold on to that position until the shaking stops. So practice for the ShakeOut. Thank you so much for everybody who practiced. And you can still register. Join the 1.3 million people who registered and yeah, thank you all for joining today and sharing your knowledge about earthquake and tsunami threat in Washington.